morning, DC. Next channel, I am here. Another edition of my life. And today we are continuing to talk about the DC universe. Yes, we're going to be back talking about the DCEU. I have been waiting to do this for a long, long time. I felt like it's been way overdue, but today is the day. I'm finally going to be ranking all the films in the DC extended universe. Yes, I finally have a ranking for these movies. As I said, it's been long overdue to do this ranking. Glad we're finally gonna get into this stuff. Um, so just to let you guys know, I am not including I'm not including films that are outside of DCEU, like the Batman and Joker. Those aren't going to be on the list. We're talking about the main DCEU films, that's supposed to be interconnected. But well, we know how the continuity is with DCEU right now. But just the main DCEU films. That's what I'm focusing on. I'm not going to focus on like the outside films. So that's how it is. There's 12 films. We're going to go through one by one. And most likely I'm going to piss off some DC fans tonight. This ranking is most likely going to trigger some people, but that's okay. Y'all don't have to agree with me. Y'all can have your opinions about these movies, and it's okay if we differ on how we feel about these films. It makes for great discussion. So, just gonna put that out there before we begin. Your list will probably be very different from mine, and that's okay. So, I want you guys to comment. How would you rank the DCEU? Where would you put everything? I would love to know. And yeah, feel free to react to my list as I go on. Let's check out the comments real quick. We have Jay Casali, how's it going? Thank you for coming. And then we have TW McKay, nerd. Well, you're a nerd too, TW. Don't you forget that. Hypocrite. No, I'm just kidding. Love you, man. Glad you can come on. But yeah. So without further ado, let's get into this. I hope the music in the background is not too high. This is the first time I'm actually using the music in the background for my streams. I never used this before. They actually have some options I could use. So you guys let me know if the volume for the music's too high, or and I will adjust it as accordingly. But yeah, just to give a little mood, we're gonna have a laid back conversation, hopefully, because I won't anger people too much. But without further ado, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into this. Enough with the teasing. Let's just get right into it. All right. Said TWK said the background music is good. Is volume adjustable? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So if you guys need me to turn down the music, I'll more than happy to. But anyway, let's do this. Starting at number 12. Oh, of course, we're going to go from worst to best. 12 to 1. We know how this stuff goes. I don't got to explain it to you. But let's start with number 12. The very bottom. The worst DCEU film, in my opinion. And I'm sure a lot of you, if you follow me, you guys could probably guess what that film is. But this is a movie that I was highly anticipating for many years. I've been wanting this film all my life. And the first time we got this movie, huge letdown. Probably one of the biggest letdowns of my life. I was so mad. Number 12, the 2017 version of Justice League. Justice League, as we would like to call it. Yeah, jeez, this movie. What a huge disappointment. Like, seriously. First of all, WB did Snyder dirty with this version of Justice League, man. Took advantage of his film while he was dealing with, family issues, like losing his daughter to suicide. And pretty much they took that opportunity to just crap on his movie and just to turn it into this Frankenstein hodgepodge Avengers knockoff that's under 2 hours. And I'm just like, I didn't understand what their thought process was. This movie was a flat out mess. And Joss Whedon, who they brought in to like do the pickups for this movie, I'm not gonna completely blame it on him, but it was clear that he was the wrong person for the job. He was not a director that fit the style that Zack Snyder established, and it was just filled with weird edits, horrible last minute CGI effects, really bad comedy. Just like I could go on and on with this. They cut out like so much from the original cut to where the characters feel so surface level and basic and like just not as interesting as they could have been. There's literal characters and development cut out of this movie so much. Like the villain Steppenwolf, if you want to call him a villain in this movie, like they redid his design and he looks completely awful in this version. And like I said, the development, he actually had some development for, that made him a compelling villain, which we came to find out in the Snyder cut that we got later. And Darkseid was supposed to be teased in this film heavily, and they completely cut out anything having to do with Darkseid. And of course, the infamous Superman shit that they did in this movie, doing last minute reshoots with Henry Cavill while he was filming Mission Impossible Fallout. He had a mustache, and Paramount wasn't letting him shave off the mustache and do reshoots for Justice League. So Warner Brothers had to CGI remove his mustache, and it looks fucking awful. I hate it. Absolutely hate it. They pretty much did everything they could to just erase any memory of what Snyder was doing with the previous two movies, even though this is supposed to be a sequel to Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, and it just didn't mix well. It just doesn't. There's not a lot of substance with this movie. What I will say, there's a couple of things that I kind of liked in this movie. Just like the mid-credit scene that Joss Whedon did with the Flash and Superman doing the race. That was a nice nod to the comics. But once again, I couldn't really appreciate it because it was shot terribly, and the mustache shit with Superman was still there. I just couldn't get over it. Everyone looks so bad in this movie. I just can't go over it. I hate this film. I never want to see it again, and I especially not going to see it again because we got the Snyder Cut now. That's a much superior film, has much more depth. It was shot better. The performances are better. I hate Justice League 2017. I hate it. I don't even want to talk about this movie ever again. But I will say, if there's people out there that enjoy this version of Justice League, there's actually people out there that enjoyed this 2017 version more than the Snyder Cut. I don't understand you guys, but if you guys actually like this version, more power to you. But I don't even want to acknowledge this version ever again. I don't even want to remember this existed. I hated it so much. Hated it. But so let's see how you guys react to it in the comments. TWK says Bruce was cruel to Diana in one moment in Justice League. Oh yeah, when he was throwing Steve Trevor at his face, trying to guilt trip her. That is not in Bruce's character at all. I hated that so much. Why did they do that? It's just so mean spirited as well, and it's like I kind of should have expected that because Joss Whedon has some mean spirited stuff with his writing. Even though I do like his films, I appreciate what he did with the first Avengers movie, but like his other films, you feel like his mean spirited dialogue was coming into this, and it didn't fit with the characters. I just hated that. It said, Jake Assange said, figured Justice League is garbage. Yep, I'm sure a lot of people figured that, this was going to be at the very bottom. TW said, I liked the race. I liked Aquaman sitting on the lasso. Okay, actually, that was a funny scene, too. I did like that scene as well. Flash was fine, and relative to Zack Snyder's Justice League, feels like an episode of Justice League animated series. Okay, so I heard that before, and yeah, I kind of see that. But like, I felt like with what the tone and structure that Snyder was establishing with Man of Steel and BVS, like it should have been more than just feeling like an episode of the animated series. I love the animated series, of course, but like it was a different tone and structure that was already established. It had a little bit more gravitas than like other stuff like that. So I just wish he carried that over, and you could have some influences from the animated series and sprinkle it in there, but that shouldn't be the ultimate template of what Justice League ended up being, you know. And even making that comparison, I felt like there was still more substance in that animated series than what we were getting from Justice League. So yeah, I no, I mean I can kind of see why people say that, but like I felt like that's like giving the animated series a bad name because like there had more substance there. Daryl Taylor, welcome. He said Justice League 2017 was crap. I absolutely agree. And then TW's like, I do too. I'm saying it was a tonal clash with Snyder's first two. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Then I got you. But yeah, that's number 12. Fuck Justice League. But moving on, we're gonna go to number 11, and number 11, which is another one I'm sure not a lot of people are surprised about, but it's the 2016 Suicide Squad, or if I like to dub it, Studio Squad. Once again, this fell under similar issues that Justice League did, that because of the poor reception of Batman v Superman, and people saying it's too dark and it's too depressing. They decided to get us the trailer company to re-edit the original cut that David Ayer had for this movie that was more in line with BVS being serious and dark. It was probably going to be the darkest film that the DCU had up until this point, but they had cold feet, and they were like, you know what? Let's re-edit the movie to have it have a similar tone as that Bohemian Rhapsody trailer that we released for the movie. Let's have it be more like that. And then it just turned into this like horribly edited music video, weird colored hodgepodge mess. I did not like this film at all. Okay, I won't say at all because there were actually some things about the movie that I actually did like. I did like the members of the squad for the most part, even though they were surface level. They had some good banter between each other. I did like Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, even though I thought the dialogue they gave her was pretty awful, and I did not like that they put her in the panties and the high heels, and they had her actually going out on the field in combat wearing panties. And I know people are about to be like, oh, but that's what she wore in the Arkham games and the comics. Okay, the comics is the comics and the movies are the movies, and her walking around in a thong is still ridiculous. But regardless, I do like her as Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie. I just wish the writing for her was a lot better. Okay, here's a hot take for people, and I know a lot of people won't agree with it, and I really don't care. I do like Jared Leto as Joker. I did enjoy him. He was actually one of the highlights for me because there was a lot of things in this movie that didn't work for me, and like honestly, like I wish there was more of him, to be honest, because there wasn't enough of Joker for us to completely say that he was bad or good. Now I know a lot of people weren't digging his tattoos, they weren't digging the grill, and Jared Leto was like acting really strange with some of his manic performances in the movie. But like, I mean, I can kind of understand with the tattoos. It was a little too much with the tattoos. But if you guys read the comics, he's had tattoos in the comics as well. So I don't understand why people have an issue with that. I mean, okay, I'll admit the damage stuff. Yeah, it was stupid. I didn't like that. I like putting the damage stuff. That was a little too on the nose. But him having some tattoos, I didn't mind it. There's some tattoos that he had that I didn't mind. Like the stuff that he had on his torso, which was okay. Like the skull and the Jekyll skull that he had. And like there's a couple of smile tattoos I didn't mind. But like, yeah, the Tupac Joker thing he had on his stomach and the smiles, and it was a little excessive, I'll admit that, but I didn't have a problem with his tattoos that much. And like his overall look, I thought was fine outside of that. The grill, I didn't mind. The manic performances, there was a couple things he did that was weird, but for the most part, That's what kind of what I expect from Joker. He acts crazy. He acts weird. He's insane. You don't know what he's going to do, you know? So it's like, I didn't mind it. I think the only problem is, as I said, they cut out so much from the original cut of Suicide Squad, where it made him feel like he wasn't that integral to the story. He should have been the villain of the movie instead of Enchantress. I thought Enchantress was terrible. I did not like Enchantress in this movie at all. I don't know why the Suicide Squad is fighting supernatural threats. That's not what the Suicide Squad was supposed to go up against. There should have been a street level threat like the Joker. It would have made more sense if they just made him the villain. I don't know why they went to Enchantress. And like I said, I thought she was terrible. The design they had for her, I did not like. Her performance was stupid. And just like her brother Incubus, who was this giant CGI monster, like it was just all stupid. I just didn't understand that. I did like Will Smith as Deadshot. I did enjoy him. Now he wasn't exactly straight up like the character from the comics, but he made the character his own. I definitely liked what he did with the role, and I kind of liked the stuff that he had with his daughter, so that was fine. Ben Affleck was in the movie for literally like 10 seconds. I'm over exaggerating, of course, but he was in it for a couple scenes, cameos, and so was Ezra Miller's Flash. So that was kind of nice with the world building. But as far as like developing the squad itself, very surface level, like not much to it other than Deadshot and Harley. They had the most development in this movie. Oh, actually, you know what? I'll say Diablo was actually probably the most compelling character in the movie, and they gave him the short end of the stick and they kill him off. Even though I think he was supposed to stay alive in the original version. I don't know why they killed him in this version. I don't understand it, but this movie's a mess. The editing pissed me off in this movie. It was like, it just felt so ADHD. There were so many cuts and close-ups, and the action I couldn't tell what was happening, and the random music choices did work. Like, there was actually they should have just had a regular score, and like they could sprinkle some music stuff here and there, but they pretty much used like pop songs as the score, and totally it doesn't fit with certain scenes in the movie. So there was, from an editing standpoint, from a structure standpoint, this just gave me a headache. I did not like this movie. I want to see the air cut. I hope the air cut comes out. I don't know if it will, but I am very interested to see how that version is. It's a lot more darker, and we get to see more of the abusive relationship between Harley and the Joker, which that's how it should have been. I didn't like the lovey-dovey relationship that Harley and Joker had. Like, I wanted to see the abusive stuff, and it would have made Joker a little bit more of an intimidating presence if we seen that. So I want to see that version, but I don't know if we're gonna get it. We're stuck with this stupid music video edit, whatever this shit was. Let me see the comments real quick. Should have made Suicide Squad 2016 rated R and have the squad actually killing some people. I actually agree. Like, this is a movie about supervillains, and you're trying to censor the violence? I don't understand that. This is if any movie should have been rated R and violent, it should have been a movie about criminals and supervillains. But you wanted to lighten up the tone with this. I just no. And then yeah, Enchantress and Incubus shouldn't have been the villains of 2016 Suicide Squad. They really shouldn't have. Like, there's no way I bought that the squad was able to fight this ancient witch from another dimension. That was dumb. But anyway, that's number 11, Suicide Squad 2016. Moving on, going on to number 10, and that is Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. What a dumb title. So dumb. Okay. So, as I said before, I do really enjoy Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I did want to see her in better writing, and hopefully she'll get a little bit more development between her and the Joker. But what did they decide to do? They decided to put her in her own standalone movie, but you randomly want to make the Birds of Prey supporting characters when they're not even established. And nobody really even knows who the Birds of Prey are. But you're throwing them in a Harley Quinn movie, and you're naming a Harley Quinn movie Birds of Prey, and you're having Harley Quinn be the subtitle. First of all, that's terrible marketing. Nobody's gonna immediately know that this is a Harley Quinn film, so you messed up your publicity that way. And then on top of this movie just feels random. Like, I don't know. It just like, as far as a Harley Quinn movie, I would rather see something in the veins of the Harley Quinn animated show that everyone loves. I still need to watch. I know, but like, I'm more interested in seeing a movie with Harley and Poison Ivy, because there's actually stories with them in the comics, and they have a better dynamic. They have more chemistry. You know, like, I just don't understand why they went that route. This is probably the most random DC project that they made. Um, I don't know why they decide to do this. Like, they're trying to be niche and indie for no reason, you know? But once again, I did enjoy Margot Robbie as Harley in this film. Had a little bit better they had a little bit better dialogue to work with, but still not great. I did enjoy the Birds of Prey in here. Jernay Smollett, I think that's how I pronounce her name. Her as Black Canary, I did enjoy her. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I enjoyed her as Huntress, even though she was wasted in this movie. She wasn't in the film enough, and the movie is named after them. She's not even in the movie that much. And then the girl, I forget her name. I thought she was okay in the film. I didn't really care for her that much. I know in the comics she ends up being another version of Batgirl. Hold on, I'm about to look up her name right now. I don't know why it's not coming to me for some reason. Hold up. I'm sure you guys are yelling at me in the comments. Cassandra Cain. I thought she was okay. She was kind of annoying in the beginning, but she's got a little bit better as the film went on. But again, it's just strange that they decided to go with the Harley Quinn movie, and then Ewan McGregor as Black Mask. What was that? Like, why was he acting so weird? Like, this didn't feel anything like Black Mask from the comics. I was expecting this very serious, like, gangster performance from Ewan McGregor. I don't have a problem with him being casted as Black Mask, but what they decided to do with his character in this movie just felt very odd and very strange. Like Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, like, kind of weird manic performance. I didn't expect that from a Black Mask, you know? I expected him to be much more serious and scary, like in the vein of a Two-Face or something like that. But no, and then he barely wears the mask in the movie. You know, he only wears it like a little bit in the beginning and at the very end. But it's mostly you see Ewan McGregor's face throughout the entire movie. You feel like a completely different person. Victor Zsasz, I thought he was more scary than Black Mask in certain moments. So I never understood that. And then they kill him off. And I'm like, why would you waste such a good character like that? I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. And probably the biggest thing that bothered me about this movie is that this film is about Harley breaking up with the Joker. You know, we're actually seeing her moving on without the Joker, you know, like seeing how she adjusts to just being by herself, you know, and her being vulnerable because the Joker's not there to protect her, and so other like gangsters and criminals are after her. Because she's by herself. But you have a breakup with Harley and the Joker without having the Joker in it. Like he's mentioned in the intro, but Jared Leto's Joker is not in this movie at all. And that was a huge mistake. I felt the absence of the Joker in this movie. And I know people, they probably didn't want him in the film because people didn't like Jared Leto's version of the Joker, but not having the Joker in this movie really hurt the film, especially because that is a pivotal plot point in this movie that she broke up with him. So we don't see them break up. Like, we don't see Joker reacting to Harley breaking up with him. Like, there's no ramifications from that whatsoever. I just never understood that. So I don't know. I don't really want to go back to watching this movie, even though I did enjoy the Birds of Prey in this movie, and I did like Harley, but it's just this film felt random. This film shouldn't have even been made. Like, it felt like they just didn't care. They just threw a bunch of stuff at the wall and hoping that stuff sticks. So no, I was not a fan of Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Like, why did they just call it Harley Quinn Birds of Prey? I mean, they named it after the home release, but like, why didn't you have the movie named after Harley Quinn? You're just being weird for the sake of being weird. But let's move on to the comments with this. Cassandra Cain was annoying as hell. Yeah, I understand that. I totally understand that. Oh, and the whole plot point with her swallowing a diamond and Black Mask is after her. Okay, sure. The plot was really dumb. They're really trying to be Deadpool with this. I kind of felt that because, you had Harley almost breaking the fourth wall, but not exactly, and her narrating the whole thing out of order and stuff like that. It really had some major Deadpool vibes, but not as well thought out. Man, the Birds of Prey movie was unnecessary. Warner Brothers should have made a Gotham City Sirens movie with the DCEU Harley, Poison Ivy, and Catwoman. I agree. I would have been cool with the Gotham City Sirens movie as well. I think David Ayer wanted to do a Gotham City Sirens movie as well, but of course that fell through because of the the critical reception of the Suicide Squad. But I would have wanted to see that. Unfortunately, I don't know if we're going to see Catwoman in the DCU anytime soon because Catwoman's in the Matt Reeves the Batman, and I don't know if they want two Catwomen running around. I mean, they could do that, but I don't know if they want to. But yeah, I would totally want to see that. TW says how they did Cassie Cain in this movie was not good. Yeah, I agree. I didn't like him at all, like her at all. Black Mask was a decent villain, but man, wasted Huntress, Cassandra Cain, and Victor Zsasz. I slightly disagree with Victor Zsasz. I thought they utilized him pretty well. Did he die? I think they did kill him off in the movie too. So okay, I guess yeah. On that aspect, they didn't need to kill Victor Zsasz either, because I thought he was really good in the movie too. And so Victor Zsasz was really odd in Birds of Prey, but like it was a good kind of odd, like he felt really like sinister when he was acting weird. It didn't felt like eccentric and like all over the top like Ewan McGregor's Black Mask was, at least in my opinion. Now, while I said I didn't like this movie, I hope maybe they could do like a Birds of Prey, like an actual Birds of Prey spinoff, with Janae Smollett and Mary Elizabeth Winstead and stuff like that. I would actually like to see a spinoff with them because I did like them. I heard rumors going around they might do like a spinoff show with Black Canary. I don't know if that's already been canceled by Zaslav, but we'll see how that goes. I'd be open to see that. And hey, get Green Arrow in there. Green Arrow and Black Canary. I want to see that. Like, do it. Charlie Hunnam, get him as Green Arrow. I would love to see that. But anyway, moving on. Okay, where are we at? Number 9? Yep, number 9. So this one, I know a lot of people don't like. And at first, I did defend this movie when this first came out, but as I watched it more and more and more, I'm starting to not be very fond of it anymore. It's pretty bad. It did have a couple of redeeming qualities, but like overall, this was such a disappointment, especially compared to the first movie. But number 9 is Wonder Woman 1984. Yeah, geez, this movie was a mess. Um, I really enjoyed the first Wonder Woman as everyone else, and there was really high expectations for the second movie. Patty Jenkins was on a roll, directed the first movie really well. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman really surprised me. So of course I was excited for the sequel, just like everyone else, and having it set in a different time period, I thought, okay, that's cool. That's a good way to the the franchise fresh. You know, having Wonder Woman deal with different time periods. I thought that was cool. And getting Cheetah in this movie and what's the other villain's name? I keep forgetting. Hold on, about to pull it up. Hold up. Oh, we got Cheetah and we Maxwell Lord. Why am I blanking on these guys' names? But yeah, we get Maxwell Lord and Cheetah. I was looking forward to it, even though I was kind of scratching my head at the Kristen Wiig being casted as Cheetah. But I'm like, you know what? I believe in Patty Jenkins. This was going to be a fun movie. I was hoping, and man, this movie just was all over the place. First of all, um, it felt really, it felt really cheesy and sappy compared to the first movie. Like the first film had its cheesy qualities, but you know, it had a balance between the grounded heaviness and the hope and optimism, I think. I thought the first one balanced it much better, but this one just felt like a straight up modern version of the Linda Carter TV show back in the 70s. Like it literally felt like a modern version of that, and that's not what I wanted at all. You know, I wanted them like I was already skeptical of them bringing Wonder Woman into live action, and this what they did with this movie was what I was afraid the first film was going to do. This movie felt so cheesy. This felt so sappy, felt so corny. The 80s vibes were a little too much, a little too much. I didn't mind like the cinematography and the color palette. I thought that was fine. But like as far as the tone and just like some of the performances were kind of weird too. But just like I just didn't like how cheesy this movie was, and they were going out of their way to not be as violent as the first film. Um, Going as far as having Wonder Woman not use her sword and shield anymore, like she doesn't want to kill people anymore, even though you were killing people before this point. What is up with the whole morale change? I didn't feel like there was a significant reason why she was like, I'm not gonna kill people anymore. Like it's not like she was like just killing people just because. She killed people when it was absolutely necessary, so I didn't understand that. Maxwell Lord was very disappointing as a villain. Pretty much like, I mean, I did like Pedro Pascal. Didn't mind his performance, and I know that's kind of a hot take for people because not a lot of people liked his performance in this movie, but I actually didn't mind his performance. But the writing they gave for him was not good at all. Getting this wishing stone, and pretty much turns himself into a genie, and like he's granting random people wishes, and the more wishes that he gives, the more powerful he becomes, and trying to prove himself to his son. That was just a mess. I didn't understand his logic. I didn't understand his motivation. His plan made no sense. I think he went out his way to make his job harder by making himself a genie, and then the whole thing is like every time somebody wishes for something, that instant karma comes to them, like they sacrifice something that they want. I didn't understand that. Like the stone was making him weaker the more he was giving wishes. It just didn't make any sense whatsoever. Kristen Wiig as Cheetah, probably was one of the better things about this movie. Surprisingly, there was still some messy stuff with her development, but for the most part, I actually liked her as Cheetah. You know, there was actually a couple of scenes where she actually was an intimidating presence and actually felt like a formidable foe to Wonder Woman. But like once again, there was some stuff that felt surface level with her motivation. Like I was getting similar vibes with Jamie Foxx's Electro in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, where she was like this dorky like scientist and nobody paid attention to her, and she's mad at the world because Diana is getting all the attention because she's beautiful and she's intelligent and she's a strong-willed person and she wishes to be that person, and she uses the stone to make herself just as powerful as Wonder Woman without her knowing that she's actually Wonder Woman, and then she slowly starts getting powers, and then they contrivingly make her into a cheetah person because she randomly said that she wants to be the next apex predator. That was very on the nose. I didn't understand that at all. And then, of course, the biggest controversy of this movie is the return of Steve Trevor, where Diana wishes for him to come back, and the way he comes back is that, like, Diana is like her head is seeing Steve Trevor with someone else's body, so nobody else sees that it's Steve Trevor except for her. And of course, we have the controversy that that people think that Diana, like, I'm not gonna say the word on YouTube, but like they think that Diana R word random guy, and I don't know how to feel about that. Like that controversy. I don't know what to say about that, but what I will say, that is really strange that they decide to use that choice. Like, I don't understand why they didn't just have Steve Trevor come back from the dead. Why is he being projected on a random guy to Diana? Like, I didn't understand that. There could have been like a easier way and a much more coherent way of them bringing Steve Trevor back other than that. So that was weird. And then, of course, the invisible jet's in this. I don't know why the invisible jet's here. And then she using the lasso to swing on lightning. That was strange. And then that gold armor that she has in the movie, that awesome gold armor with the wings, wasted. Does nothing. Like, Cheetah breaks it apart like it's nothing. So that was a waste. I was really excited to see what she would do with that gold armor, but nothing. She does nothing with it. So no, I think it was literally there to sell toys. Now what I will say about it is that there are some nice emotional moments between Diana and Steve that I thought was nice. The chemistry between those two was always great. So that's one thing I kind of liked about it. And the message at the end that Diana gives, even though it was literally thrown in your face, like, it was not subtle at all, but it was a nice feel-good thing at the end, I guess. Like, there's some feel-good emotions in this movie, but there still had to be coherent writing and motivations that make sense, and you had to be consistent with the stuff that came before. Like, this doesn't even feel consistent with the first movie that Patty Jenkins directed. This doesn't even feel like a natural sequel to the first movie. So, yeah, this was a big disappointment compared to the first film. I didn't think this was a good movie. But like I said, there's some stuff in here where I don't think it's completely awful like a lot of people say it is. But yeah, I just hope Patty Jenkins get her act together with the third movie. Fingers crossed. Maybe she needs different writers, because I think she didn't write everything from the first movie. She wrote everything with Wonder Woman 84. So maybe she needs better writers. Especially because Jeff Johns wrote stuff for this movie too. So like, ugh. So yeah, big disappointment. Next, hold on. Let me look at the comments real quick. Let's see. When I first watched 1984, I was not paying attention to it, so I watched Justice Society World War II. Damn. Okay. Yeah, the TW is talking about something about Doomsday and BVS. I think she's talking about that. Oh yeah, she fighting Wonder Woman fighting Doomsday in BBS. Yeah, that she was badass. You know, like we want to see the warrior Wonder Woman, not this whole like, oh, I don't want to kill people. I'm not going to use my sword. I'm not. I'm just going to use my lasso because I want to be a role model to the kids, man. I don't want to have any violence or whatever. Um, Wonder Woman 84 was a hilarious disaster. The major plot hole was that invisible jet, in which a radar can detect invisible objects flying. And why did Steve fly under fireworks? Good point. Good point. There's, the radar should have picked up the jet even though it was invisible. So yeah, that didn't make much sense. But they got to put it in there for the fan service, right? In the comics, it did nothing either. It was just cool, right? If I want to watch a DC movie at Christmas time, I better get on ONW. I'm not sure what that means, but oh yeah, this is coming around Christmas time, right? Like the feel good Christmas movie. That's what they were intending it to be, right? But fell flat in their face. Johns clearly knows how to write a superhero story in comic form, but can't get it together for movies. I don't know why. Yeah, I agree. Batman Returns. Oh, don't get me started with Batman Returns. I know there's people that love Batman Returns. It's like some people's favorite Christmas movie, but that was another messy movie. They try to. I don't know if that's supposed to be a feel-good movie. Batman Returns is not a feel-good movie. Like, no, not at all. It's really dark and twisted and weird and no, just no. But anyway, number 9 is Wonder Woman 84. All right. So now that I got the ones that I think are that I don't like out the way. Now everything upwards I do enjoy more than I dislike. So just to establish that point. But anyway, number 8. Now I know this one is going to split people in half. There's no getting around it. Like I see people that either love this movie or I see people absolutely hate this film. I don't see a lot of people that are in between. But this is how it is for me. But number 8 is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. And yes, I am talking about the Ultimate Cut. I'm including the Ultimate Cut in this conversation. Okay, so I can't deny and say that, I enjoy watching this movie. I do like it, This is a history-making movie, whether people want to admit it or not. This movie changed things for good or for bad. It definitely impacted the future of comic book movies, not only because this is the first film that we got Batman and Superman on the same screen together, but like this definitely impacted how people looked at comic book movies, man. Like it's just there's so much in this film, bruh. There's so much going on. Like you have the Trinity here for the first time. The first time they actually establish a DC universe full out, just like, setting up a Justice League, setting up Apocalypse, all this DC lore they put into this film, there's a lot that I enjoy. Like, I respect the ambition of this movie more than anything else, I know, like, with Snyder's direction, it splits people in half. I can't deny that. And this is probably the most divisive film that Snyder has made. But there's a lot that I enjoy, even though I will admit this movie's a mess. There's no getting around it. I know there's people that love this movie, they defend how this is not a mess and everything makes sense. Everything is put together the way it is. No. I can't get with you guys. I can't. But, like, I loved Ben Affleck as Batman. I thought he was great. He's my favorite live-action Batman. I don't care what people think. He is my favorite. I don't care what people got to say. I know people are upset that he killed people in this movie. I never gave a shit about Batman's no killing rule. You guys know that. I don't give a shit about that. And growing up watching the Batman films, he's killed in pretty much every Batman movie. So him killing this movie didn't bother me as much. I mean, it was a little bit more eccentric than it was in the previous movies, give or take, if you want to debate that. But like, I didn't have a problem with that. I felt like they incorporated that into the story somewhat. You know, that was the point of the story, that he's a more grizzled Batman. This is a Batman that's been through a lot of psychological damage, especially with the Joker killing his wars, and just like just getting into his psyche more. It just brought Batman down to our level, I guess. He's not this immortal superhero that can do no wrong. That's one of the things that bothered me about Batman throughout his years. He almost felt I feel like he's one of the biggest Mary Sues in comic books, and it was just nice to see that Batman was not perfect in this movie, and they just brought him down a couple notches. I just appreciated that, because I'm tired of people making excuses for Batman of why he's so perfect and why he can do no wrong and why he can beat people no matter what, even though he's technically one of the weakest characters in Batman power scaling wise. Everyone has to make an excuse for Batman. But I like that Batman fucks up in this movie. Batman is dealing with some psychological shit, and it's just like, I like that they're just deconstructing that. So I respected that. And on top of that, Ben Affleck performance. I did not see Ben Affleck. I saw Bruce Wayne. And that was one of the things I was afraid of when they first casted him, that I was mainly going to see Ben Affleck, but I didn't. Like, he literally felt straight out of the comics and the animated series for me. And I love his suit. This is the most comic accurate suit. This is my favorite suit of any Batman movie. And his physique, his intimidating presence, he was a scary Batman. He actually felt like a physical, intimidating presence more than any other Batman in live action. And I'm including Robert Pattinson that we recently got. He felt like an intimidating, scary Batman. I don't want to fuck with this version. So that's what I love about this version of Batman. Superman gets ran through the mud in this movie. Like, I'm not going to deny that. Like, yeah, he was depressing in this film. I'll admit that. But once again, I felt like that was part of the story of humanity not fully accepting him as Superman yet after the events of Man of Steel. With all that destruction and the Kryptonians, like, killing thousands of people, that, of course, humanity was not going to accept Superman yet. And Superman, once again, I appreciate that they grounded him as well. That he wasn't just smiling through everything and, everything's happy-go-lucky and he's just ignoring that everyone hates him and, he's just going to get over that. Like, I like that they made him more human in this movie. That, yeah, it's getting to him. The people's reactions is actually getting to him. He doesn't know how to take this, And we have to keep in mind that this is still the beginnings of Superman, He's not like fully like in the rhythm of Superman yet, This is still his beginnings, and he's just adjusting to how humanity's reacting to him, like how he's a Superman. And I actually respected that. I appreciated that. Now, I wish there was just a little bit more balance where there was some people that, appreciated what Superman does, saving people. I wish there was a little bit more of a balance, so there could actually be a little more gleaming of hope that motivates him to want to continue being Superman outside of Lois Lane. That there's people that actually appreciate what he does. I don't think there was enough balance of that. So maybe that's why Superman came off a little bit more depressing than he actually was. Jesse Eisenberg is Lex Luthor. Yeah, a little too manic for my taste. And I know people flat out hate Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor in this movie, and I totally understand that. But I did like him in this movie. I did like I liked the dynamic that he had with the other characters. He actually felt like a formidable villain. I'm not gonna go out of his way and say that he's like one of the best villains in the DCEU, but like he's definitely a formidable villain in this movie. definitely almost on the level of General Zod for me at least. But yeah, I wasn't crazy about his weird manic tics and stuff like that. They really could have grounded his character a lot more. He should have gave a similar performance with like he did in Social Network. I think that would have gone over a lot better. But I didn't know what he was doing, especially the piss in the jar and stuff like that. All that was just really strange. And the biggest issue that I have with this movie is that there's too much going on. Like, you have the conflict with Batman and Superman. You have Wonder Woman being introduced. You have Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. You have them setting up stuff with Darkseid and Apocalypse. You have them setting up the Justice League. You have all this thrown into one movie. And this is only the second film in the DCEU. This is a continuation of Man of Steel. Like, people even consider this to be a sequel, and it doesn't feel like a formidable sequel, you know? It almost is like saying that like the first Avengers movie is a direct sequel to Captain America: The First Avenger. You know, like this doesn't feel like a formidable sequel to Man of Steel. I would have much preferred that they do a Man of Steel 2 and maybe a Batman movie before we did a Batman versus Superman movie, so we could adjust the things better. It felt like they threw too much into this movie, and we weren't able to absorb the emotional moments and the character stuff enough because everything was going by so fast, and at the same time this movie was so long. Like, how does that even happen? And then for them to wanting to set up a Justice League, they kill Superman in this movie. They have Doomsday in here, and it's just like, why is Doomsday in the second movie? Why is Superman getting killed in the second movie? You're trying to set up a Justice League universe, and that's what you do in the second film. It's just, I can't blame people for feeling like this was too much, because it was a lot. I'm not going to deny, even for me, that likes the movie, that was too much. That was too much. Like, Warner Brothers was throwing too much at Zack Snyder. Snyder didn't even want to make a DC universe. He didn't even want to start it. But Warner Brothers was just throwing all this at him, and so stuff felt out all over the place. So I just don't know how to feel, man. Like, there's a lot that I appreciate from a world building standpoint and like character standpoint, and a lot of DC Easter eggs and just like all that stuff that I actually like seeing for the first time. But it could have been done a lot better, in my opinion. There could have been a lot more build up. I'm not saying every character needs to have a standalone movie before they do a big Justice League movie. That's not what I'm saying. Not everyone has to have a standalone movie, but like, for them to throw so much in this film, it was just crazy. Absolutely crazy. But I will say, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, you know, as her first outing as Wonder Woman, I thought it was pretty cool. You know, she definitely brought some energy to the film where I thought it needed, you know, and just seeing that Trinity battle at the end, that was kind of a cool moment. But once again, everything just felt like it was, you know, the momentum was just sucked out of us once Superman died. So it's just like, it's a messy movie. I'm not gonna fight people that say that they hate this film. If they hate this movie, I get it. I'm not gonna try and defend it, you know. And you know, if people love this movie, I'm glad that they do, you know. So I don't have to fight them as much. That, you know, they appreciate stuff with this film. But like, I'm in the middle. That's where I'm at. You know, that's all. I can't say I completely hate this film, but I can't say I completely love this movie. But that's how I feel. Anyway, getting into the comments, I can't wait to hear what you guys got to say about this. And even with the ultimate cut with 3 hours, while it was a better film, you know, it still felt like it was too much going on. But let's see. TWK was surprised about that. Yeah, number 8 is BVS. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, Derpy says, honestly, as DC fan, they need to put the DCU to rest. No, I don't agree with that. I think they're going to go in a better direction going forward, you know? Like, yes, there's still some rocky things going on, but you feel like they're trying to get a handle more on what they're trying to do with DC, you know? And we just got Henry Cavill back as Superman. I don't want them to waste that, you know? I think I think we'll be in a better place going forward. Like, yeah, they still have a lot of stuff to work on, but I'm open to seeing where the direction is going forward. And it's like, at the very least, if you can't give me a coherent universe, give me some good DC movies. And like post the 2017 Justice League movie, they have, for the most part, been doing good DC films. So I don't want them to just throw it away. I don't. You know, I think you should. I think we should have a little bit more of an open mind. But Ultimate Edition makes far more sense as a theatrical. Affleck is my second favorite live action after Bale. The villain definitely should have been Luthor. I mean, it was Lex Luthor, but they were throwing a whole bunch of other stuff in there as well. So if he was the main focus, then yeah, I think it would have been better. Um, Maybe like All Star is his own way. Uh, yeah, I know what you're saying. All Star, Superman. Yeah, I think that's what you're trying to say. They need to reboot it and take time making storyboards and find their Kevin Feige. I think that's what they're trying to do. You know, they're not going to reboot it though. They're not going to, but they are going to try and find what their version of Kevin Feige is going to be. But hopefully that works out. Love the Ultimate Cut because it showed how people in the modern world reacting to Superman in the real world, because there's no way in hell people in the real world would have accepted him. Yes, that's exactly what I appreciate about this movie. You know, like if we're putting Superman into the real world, like not everyone's going to be happy about that. People are going to be scared of him. You know, so I'm glad that they were. You know, they brought. You know, they made that somewhat realistic. You know, so I definitely appreciated that. The point of Snyder's work was to arc towards that Superman too. I mean, yes, I get like the born and the get killed and reborn again, the Jesus allegory, which I got that. I got that message, but the fact of the matter is, when you're talking about the general movie going audience, that's not going to connect to them. Like you need something a little bit more relatable. Like we already have the issue that people see the DC characters as godlike figures and they're hard to relate to. So it's like I feel like with them putting so much Jesus like connections with Superman, it should have, they should have like eased back on it a little bit. I understand symbolically what they were trying to do, but like it just didn't connect with the movie going audience as much as it should have. Um, Eisenberg has really grown on me. Yeah, he has grown on a lot of people, definitely. Think you could have Soup's death signal to Apocalypse without Doomsday. Yeah, they definitely could have done that. I didn't understand how that came to be, because Superman shouted an echo out into the universe. Like, I mean, that's some really comic booky stuff, but like in the context of this grounded DC universe, that just seemed a little far fetched to me. Um, while I actually like BVS for the Batman and Superman scenes, the Justice League setup, but the inclusion of Doomsday was really odd. It definitely was. It definitely was. Believe they wanted to kill Superman off in BVS so Justice League could come together. I understand that, though I don't think we saw enough of Superman impacting the world on a positive level before they killed off Superman. We didn't see enough of Superman changing the world and inspiring people. Like, I wanted to see a little bit more of that. That's implied, but you can't just have the movie imply things. You have to show stuff a little bit more. I'm thinking on a general movie going aspect, you needed to show him, being a positive influence on the world. Just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. But anyway, hold on 1 second, guys. Hold on one moment. Sorry about that, guys. Had to fix one thing. But anyway, so yeah, that's how I feel about BVS. Let's move on. We've sat on this long enough. I could go on for hours with this. But moving on, number 7. We're going to number 7, and this is the movie that recently came out. And it's another film that critics aren't loving very much, but apparently the general audience is coming around to it quite a bit. But yeah, number 7 is Black Adam. Black Adam. Yeah. Um, yeah, I've said before on a stream, the Black Adam stream that I had a couple of days ago. Yeah, this movie's a mess. This movie is all over the place as well. The script, the story was man, it was nuts. A bunch of stuff was happening. But what I really enjoyed about this was Dwayne the Rock Johnson as Black Adam. I thought he was really really good. I really liked him, and I was kind of worried because for the most part when it comes to The Rock and his movies, he tends to play himself a lot, and I was hoping with this that he would be able to hone in more to his darker persona. I was hoping he would have a darker persona, so have something a little bit more sinister. You see a little bit more of that villainous side of him, or at least a little bit more of that anti-hero-ness. And I definitely got that from The Rock. He was definitely an imposing figure in this movie. He had some, like, he didn't even have to talk that much. Just him giving that death stare to people. Like, I really liked his performance in this movie. I really liked him as Black Adam. And the JSA. Really liked the JSA in this movie. Dr. Fate, Hawkman, Atom Smasher, Cyclone. I really, really liked them in this movie. But I really wish they had wish they had a little bit more to do. Which I guess this is them setting up possibly doing a JSA spinoff later on down the line. But I definitely really like their inclusion in the film. And I definitely like the interactions that he has with Black Adam. The action scenes in this movie is absolutely insane. It was like one of the best action I've seen in a comic movie in a long time. It's a Man of Steel levels of action, bro. Like, it was balls to the wall from start to finish. But like, as I said, the script and the story, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of messy. Like, you felt like there was like, they wanted to have some influence from Snyder, having this gritty, dark, 300-esque origin with Black Adam, and it's totally clashing with some of the goofy stuff with the JSA later on, and especially the stuff with the kid in this movie. I hated the kid in this film. I did not like the dialogue that they gave for him, and it's just like, and the villain. Did they even need a villain in this movie? Sabak. Like, I didn't understand why they threw a villain in this movie. They could have just stuck with the conflict between Black Adam and the JSA, with him killing the whole conflict with him killing people. They could have had more development with that. They could have added a little bit more layers to Black Adam as a character, with his backstory with his son and stuff like that. They could have gave more development with the JSA, but like, we didn't need this whole villain stuff at the end with Sabak. It just felt like they needed like a video game villain to fight at the end, so that was unnecessary. But like, other than that, I did have a fun time watching this movie. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I will watch this again. Just for the action scenes, and just, I liked the performances most of all. Like, Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, perfect casting. Aldrich Hodge, as Hawkman, really surprised me. Like, not exactly the portrayal that I expected from the comics, but he made the character his own, and I really was entertained by that. And like I said, Atom Smasher and Cyclone as the rookies of the JSA, I really like that stuff. So for that stuff alone, I would watch it. But like, I don't know, this is a story I would just wish could have been better. And for a movie that's been in development hell for all these years, even dating before the MCU was even a thing, you would think that they would spend more time making sure that the story was better. But it was kind of messy, I'm not gonna lie. But I guess you can consider this a guilty pleasure for me. So I will watch this again. I'm looking forward to seeing how Black Adam will impact the rest of the DCEU. But getting Henry Cavill Superman back, bruh. Like, The Rock got Henry Cavill back as Superman. So that alone, I'm like, yes, got him back. Yes, thank you, Rock, for doing that. At the very least, the hierarchy of power shifted slightly. So that's the one thing I can give for this movie. I had a fun time with Black Adam, but let's see. Uh, it's crazy that a mess is in a top 10. I mean, hey, what can I say? What can I say? I sometimes like me some messy things. I love Godzilla versus Kong, even though that's a messy film as well. Sometimes I can enjoy a messy film, guys. Like, I'm sure you guys can, enjoy your messy films at times. You have your guilty pleasures where you know it's bad. You know it's bad, but you can have fun with it, right? You enjoy it for what it is. And so that's how I feel about some of these movies. The seeing the JSA on screen warmed my soul. I needed more of them with other heroes too. I did too. You know, I would love to see that maybe in future movies. That I think that's a possibility for sure. Black Adam was an okay movie. Hope they do more with intergang since they are connected to Darkseid in the comics, and I hope we see more JSA members like Hawkgirl, Wildcat, Sandman, and Black Canary. I definitely agree. We'll see how the intergang stuff, if they want to connect that to Darkseid, if whenever they bring Darkseid back in the DCU movie. But that is something they definitely could connect for sure. And yeah, I definitely want to see Hawkgirl and Wildcat. Sandman, I'm even open to that, and then Black Canary. We'll just see what they want to do with Black Canary going forward. But I would not be against them bringing them in a JSA movie. And Janae Smollett, if they want to bring her back, I hope they do. Because she's in the DCU, so I hope they bring her back if they want to have Black Canary. Yay, T.W. McKay. I think Amanda Waller was trying to get Black Adam for Task Force X. Good luck with that, my friend. We'll see how that goes. Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck is a great duo. I definitely agree. That's another thing. I hope we get Ben Affleck back. If we got Henry Cavill back and Gal Gadot's still Wonder Woman, the Trinity is almost complete. So if we get Ben Affleck as Batman, I'll be a very happy camper. Very, very happy. But yeah, that is number 7, Black Adam. So to just do a quick recap because we're halfway through. So number 12 was Justice League, 2017 version of Justice League, and then number 11 was the 2016 Suicide Squad. Number 10 was Birds of Prey. Number 9 was Wonder Woman 84. Number 8 is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, and number 7 is Black Adam. So just to do a quick recap for you guys, for those of you who got lost. But anyway, moving on. Number 6. Now we're getting to the interesting stuff. All right. So this one, I know a lot of people love, and some people may even consider this to be the best DCEU movie. And this definitely did a lot for comic book movies when it came out. And I definitely appreciate this movie. There's a lot that this film did, for not just for DC but for comic book movies in general. But for me, not as high as people will be expecting this to be. But don't get me wrong, I enjoy this movie, guys. But I'm sorry, it's not as high as you guys think this is. Number 6 is the first Wonder Woman movie. Yeah, Wonder Woman 2017 is number 6. And I know a lot of people are probably mad right now. Like, what are you talking about? This should at least be in the top 10, man. Wonder Woman 1 was so great. This movie's awesome, man. Look, I enjoy this movie, man. You get no barely negative stuff from me, man. I enjoy this movie quite a bit, and in my opinion, this is the only good comic book movie female-driven comic book movie to come out. Because for a while there has not been a good comic book movie that was led by a female superhero. There hasn't been one up until this point. And so there was a lot of skepticism going into this. And on top of the fact that people were divided about the DCEU films up until that point. And then on top of that, Them casting Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, the Israeli Barbie doll from the Fast and Furious movies who can't act for shit. Like, why? At the time, I thought this probably the worst casting ever. Like, what were they thinking? And I gotta say, including her appearance in BVS, and now this, and actually getting to see her arrange a little bit more, Gal Gadot definitely surprised me. I really liked her a lot as Wonder Woman. I thought she was great. She put on some muscle for sure. At first, when I thought she was extremely skinny, I don't know why they casted her, but she put on some muscle, and like she looked like a warrior. She looked powerful. So, and her outfit, I was worried about how they would translate her outfit to live action, but they did it. It looked great. She looked awesome. She looked like a fearsome warrior. So, she definitely surprised me. Chris Pine as Steve Trevor, I thought was really good as well. She was great chemistry between her and Gal Gadot. I love the love story that they have with each other in this movie. Really great chemistry. As I said earlier, I definitely liked that they balanced the dark and heavy themes and the hope and optimism. I wish they had this more of a balance with BVS and kind of Man of Steel just a little bit, but not I didn't have as much a problem with it the Man of Steel, but like I like that they balanced that stuff in this movie. And the action scenes were really really good. Awesome. It has some Snyder influences, definitely. And I think this is the first like time that Patty Jenkins directed an action movie on this level. And for the most part, she did really well. I love seeing Themyscira and seeing all the Amazonians doing their thing. I thought it was great. Just seeing all the development with Themyscira and her mother, and just seeing all that, I just thought it was great. And then the stuff with World War One, I loved how they included that in the film. I once again bringing the grounded, gritty nature of the film, but not making it too heavy. It's hard to do when you're putting like war stories in these type of films. But they definitely did their thing with that. And I definitely liked the ragtag team that Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor brought together in this movie. I definitely liked all the ragtag team that they worked together, that they worked with. I thought they were all great. What keeps this from being higher to me is that I thought the story was not as complex as I thought, as like the other movies above this list. Emotionally, I wish I was drawn into it a little bit more. Not to say that I wasn't brought into it at all. There were still some really good emotional moments and some good development with Diana, but I felt like it felt a little simple to me, so it felt very straightforward. And I just felt like, as far as like the storytelling and the complexities from the films that are higher on this list, I just got a little bit more substance from the other films than I did with this, at least in my opinion. For a lot of people, they feel like this had the most substance out of any DC film up to this point, which I can see why they say that, but like for me, I just wanted a little bit more. There were times where they made Diana just a little bit too dorky, and this is the kind of stuff that they brought into Wonder Woman 84, and they amped it up more in that film. And just the dorky, sappy stuff that it did with the Wonder Woman, I just wish that we saw a little bit more of the warrior sense of Wonder Woman, which I know this is her beginning story, like this is her just becoming Wonder Woman, so she has to get to that point. But I just like seeing more of the badass Wonder Woman, in the other films. That's just my personal taste. I don't think this is a bad movie at all. I think this is a really good movie. This is very enjoyable. I thought the character development for the most part was good. But another thing that bothered me was the third act. The third act, the climax, a little too much. It felt a little too much like visual noise, because Ares as a villain didn't work for me very much. Not really. He felt out of nowhere. And I know this is like, they talked about him throughout the movie, but as far as like him being a scary, like a imposing threat in the presence, it just felt thrown together at the last minute. And like all the like the grounded like emotional stuff that they had up until that climax, it kind of got ruined by that huge CGI like hodgepodge fire fest that they had at the end. Like I wasn't digging it very much. Like I kind of tuned out at that point because like they just felt like they had to go out of their way to have a giant climactic action set piece, and getting Lupin from Harry Potter to be Ares, that was kind of a strange casting for me. And like the overall design of Ares, I didn't love very much. Um, there was actually toys that came out for this movie where Ares had a completely different design. It looked much more badass. You guys can look it up. It's out there on out there on the internet. But like, I wish they had that design than the one that we got. Like, I don't understand why they changed the design at the last minute. But like, that definitely didn't really go very well for me. But that's why Wonder Woman is not as high as as the other films for me. But still, good movie. I thought it was good. Moving on. Now we're on to the top five. Top five, baby. Let's get to it. All right. Number 5 is Shazam. Shazam. I really enjoyed this movie. Shazam. I thought this was a very cool movie. It was fun. It was DC's version of Big, and in the best way possible. That's the best compliment I could give to it. This was a much more grounded, much more relatable story. It wasn't completely end of the world stakes like most of the other DC films. Like I liked this was a kid's story. And I definitely liked all the kids in this movie. The kid that played Billy Batson, I thought he was really good. He was really charming. He was funny. And I like the other kids as well. The orphanage that make up the Shazam family. I like the family dynamic with this film. And when there's Shazam, that just was icing on the cake. I definitely liked all the stuff when he was Shazam. Zachary Levi, I enjoyed for the most part. The one thing I can say, my one nitpick for Zachary Levi when he's Shazam, I wish that he wasn't playing up the goofiness as much as he did. I thought he was a little too goofy in certain moments. Like it didn't feel completely consistent with him as a kid. But that's the only nitpick I would say that, I wish Zachary Levi wasn't as goofy. But for the most part, I did still enjoy him as Shazam, and I enjoyed everyone else when they became the Shazam family. I didn't expect for them to do that in the first movie, but they did. But yeah, I just thought all that was really good. And what really got me in this film was like they were talking the themes about child abandonment and with kids having to deal with being orphans and stuff like that. And like when Billy had to confront his real mom and like his mom didn't want him and stuff like that, that's some really heavy dark stuff. I didn't really expect that for a film like this, even though it's a DC movie and that we expect the more grounded stuff. I liked that they tackled those themes in this movie and they handled it with care, and some level of gravitas, and I really appreciated that. And same thing with the villain with hold on, dang it, I'm sorry that I keep forgetting that everyone's names because I'm literally going off the dome. But hold up. Mark Strong as Dr. Savannah. I thought he was a pretty solid villain. And once again, he has like childhood trauma as well. With him getting not being appreciated by his family, and like you feeling like his dad and his brother didn't want him, and like that seemed to be a motivation for him, and also him being almost chosen by the wizard Shazam and him being rejected, and that being like a obsession with him as an adult, with him trying to find the power of Shazam and stuff like that. And the 7 deadly sins I thought was freaking awesome too, like something out of a horror film too. Like the director for this movie, David Sandberg, he originally was doing like some indie horror films before he did like this big budget superhero movie, and he did it really, really well. It reminded me of when Sam Raimi did started doing comic book movies, and James Wan as well. Like, man, it seems like the best people to do comic book movies is the horror director. So that was great. I thought he did his thing directing this movie. But yeah, it's just a fun time, man. I just really liked it. And then Jimon Hansu as the Wizard Shazam, I thought he was really good as well. Yeah, I just really like this Shazam stuff, and it really looking forward to what he does, with Black Adam and Superman in the future. And I'm looking forward to Fury of the Gods as well when it comes out. But yeah, really fun movie, really fun movie. All right, number 4. Oh, hold on, let me look at the comments real quick. Okay, I look at the comments, and then it's just Shazam, and then TW's like, damn. Still normal. Okay, I didn't know what you meant by that, but okay. Anthony Grigsby's in the chat. What's up, man? Glad you could make it. But okay, moving on then. Number 4 is The Suicide Squad by James Gunn. This should have been the Suicide Squad movie we got from the beginning. Even though I feel bad that David Ayer's Suicide Squad was messed with, it's clear that James Gunn's vision with Suicide Squad fits so much better. And on top of the fact that, they were able to be darker with this film, they were able to be more violent with this film, James Gunn's like off-color, weird, dark, messed up style worked for this movie. A movie about supervillains. They were actually able to do more with this movie. It felt much more coherent. And just like the characters are much more interesting. The villain was a lot better, just not so much, just like I'm just glad James Gunn was able to do his thing with this movie. And I feel bad for him because like this movie was fighting the negative reception that they got from the 2016 version, and like he didn't deserve that. And I think this movie would have done a lot better if this came out first. If this was the first impression of Suicide Squad. But yeah, I really loved Idris. I really liked all the characters. I liked Idris Elba as Bloodsport. I loved Ratcatcher 2, King Shark, voiced by Sylvester Stallone. John Cena as Peacemaker definitely surprised me. Harley Quinn. This is probably my favorite performance of Harley Quinn from the movies so far. And yeah, just like all the craziness, the kills, the bloodiness, just like all this. Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, obviously great. Just all the crazy characters, I'm just surprised the body count in this movie. Colonel Rick Flag. I didn't even care for Colonel Rick Flag in the original movie. That's why I didn't talk about him at all. But in this movie, I actually really liked Colonel Rick Flag in this movie. But yeah, it just felt like a more genuine film than the original movie. Everything came together, and them to put Starro in this movie. Like, James Gunn had the balls to put Starro in the DC film, and it worked. It actually worked. I'm so shocked about that, And like, Starro ended up being one of the best films in the DCEU, at least in my opinion. But yeah, I'm so glad. And you actually felt for the characters in the Suicide Squad, even though they are villains. They don't jeopardize them being like these really bad people, but for some reason you still felt for them. People like Polka Dot Man. Polka Dot Man has a cult following now. People love Polka Dot Man now. Like, who would have thought that would happen? Like, it's just, this movie's nuts. This movie's hilarious. The jokes landed, and I love that, they took risks with this movie. They weren't trying to appease the kids. They weren't trying to be family friendly. They knew what their audience was for this film, and I was so happy. I'm just so glad. I love this version of Suicide Squad. Even though I am still interested to see David Ayer's cut of Suicide Squad, what it was supposed to be. Like, I'm glad, if we don't end up seeing the Ayer cut, at least I'm glad we got this, this version of Suicide Squad. It just came along for me really, really well. See the comments real quick. I'm a fool to do your dirty work. Oh yeah, I think you're trying to sing a song from the movie. That's another thing. I thought the musical choices for that James Gunn used was a lot better than what they did in the 2016 version. It actually fit in the context of the scenes, which I appreciated. This movie was all kinds of fun. Funny that if he didn't get hired from Marvel, we wouldn't have got this movie. That's very true. I guess you got to thank Marvel for firing him at the time, and then him coming to DC, and then he eventually did the Peacemaker show, which I thought was pretty good. Which I know that's still a show I need to talk about. Don't worry, I will talk about the Peacemaker show at a later date. The cast was great. Awesome to see the effect of a super suit floating in midair with no one in it. And then I also appreciate that they let James Gunn swing for the fences, even if I wasn't all the way for some of it. Okay, yeah, I get there's James Gunn still has that weird sensibility to him with his humor and his tone. So there's a couple things that I get where people will feel like it's too much. And even me, maybe there was a couple of moments that wow, they let him go for that. Jesus, that's nuts. But for the most part, I thought it worked. And yeah, as I said, they gave us a spin-off of Peacemaker, which was pretty good. So looking forward to seeing what James Gunn does in the future with DC. But yeah. Oh, and Weasel. Freaking Weasel. They have this movie. And I think it was motion captured by Sean Gunn, James Gunn's brother. So yeah, that's nuts. All the stuff that they let James Gunn do in this movie. All right. 3 more. Now I'm sure you guys can infer which ones will be in the top 3. But anyway, before we get into it, let me get some water. This is going to be an interesting one for sure. All right. I've been talking a lot, but now we're getting to the top 3. Let's get down to the goods, my friend. All right. Number 3 is Aquaman. Yep. James Wan's Aquaman. This movie had no business being as good as it was. I remember when Aquaman was the butt of jokes when it comes to DC. Everyone makes fun of Aquaman, being like, oh, the guy that talks to fish, he's so lame. His outfit's so lame with the orange and the green suit. No one's gonna take him seriously. What does he do? When he's on land, he's pretty useless. What's Aquaman got to contribute to the Justice League? And everyone is eating their words right about now. Jason Momoa as Aquaman, I enjoyed him in Justice League, but in this movie, man, he brought such life to the character, and it's I'm honestly glad that he didn't go straight up like the comics, they didn't make him this serious, dark character, I'm actually glad that they were able to let Jason put his own spin on it, make him a little bit more charismatic, make him a little bit more fun to watch, I think that helped to bring people into, his character a little bit more. But at the same time, he still had his serious moments, you still bought him as this badass warrior, he definitely made the character his own. I definitely appreciated that. But yeah, this movie wasn't afraid to embrace the over the top whimsical stuff of Atlantis, man. You had people talking underwater. Atlantis had all its Atlantis was so beautiful. All the colors, all the designs of the costumes, the weapons, the vehicles, all that stuff. Literally, it looked like it came straight out of a comic book. Yeah, man. like they weren't trying to make it they weren't trying to make it too grounded. They weren't trying to make it look realistic. They actually just made it look like the comic, and I'm so glad that they did. This felt like the next science fiction epic, something on a level of Avatar. I felt major Avatar influences in the best way possible. You know, they were going balls to the wall with it, and I was so happy with it. You know, I know people complained that this movie was silly. This movie was over the top. Like, there's so many wacky things going on. Like, and I heard the complaint that this felt like a live action anime at times because of how over the top the performances were. But I liked it. I digged it. Like, I was in for it. I was along for the ride. It was just such a blast, man. The action sequences were awesome. Like, I just had a fun time with it, man. Like, I enjoyed Jason Momoa's Aquaman. Yahya Abdul Mateen as Black Manta, I thought was great. Ocean Master, I thought was awesome. What's his name? Patrick Wilson. Yeah, he did his thing in this movie. I loved him as Ocean Master. William Dafoe as Volko, I thought was great. Okay, so here's the thing that's probably going to make people mad. I actually didn't mind Amber Heard as Mira. Now, I don't give a fuck about her as a person. Like, she's a complete scumbag in real life. So I don't care for her at all in real life. But I know people want to hate on her as Mira. People thought she didn't do that well as Mira, which, okay, I mean, that's fine if you feel that way. But for me, I thought she was fine. I thought she did this. She did a serviceable job as Mira, and I thought she had a good enough chemistry with Jason Momoa. So I didn't have a problem with her as Mira. But I know people just can't stand her, and think she's a terrible actress. I'm not gonna deny she's not the best actress. I don't even think she's that great. But like, I was expecting something a lot worse from her, and she was above my expectations, because I guess my expectations were very low for her, and she somehow rose above it slightly as far as her performance. But like, yeah, I don't care for her for when in the Lost Kingdom, and I honestly hope that she gets recasted. But I can't deny, and say that I didn't mind her with the stuff that she got, and I didn't mind her in Justice League either. So that's how I feel about it. But I just like that. I just like this movie was crazy. It was over the top. They were riding seahorses, sharks. They had their own kraken in there. There were underwater sea battles on the level of Lord of the Rings. Like, I never expected any of this to happen. They made the orange and green suit look awesome. Jason was wearing that orange and green suit with the yellow trident, and he made it look badass. Like, I didn't expect them to do that. If they can make that work, I believe any suit can work now. Like, any suit I thought was ridiculous in the comics, they can make it work now. I want to see Wolverine in that yellow and blue costume in Deadpool 3. It better happen. I don't want to hear any excuses about that. But yeah, I had a blast, man. And I didn't expect this movie to make $1 billion either. It somehow made $1 billion. China loves this movie too. But yeah, I love this movie. I can't wait for The Lost Kingdom, man. I thought it was great. That was great. All right. We're down to the final two. The final two movies in this DCEU ranking. I'm glad you guys are sticking around and listening on my crazy takes on these DC movies. If I'm not showing my my DC bias here, I don't know what is. But yeah, let's do this thing before we reveal the final two movies. Let's go to the chat real quick. Aquaman TW said, good movie, but the development with Black Manta was horrible. I disagree. I thought the development with him was pretty good. It's clear that he wasn't the main villain of the film. It was Ocean Master, so he was set up for the sequel, where I'm sure he's going to be a more prominent villain. But they gave him a good enough motivation and stuff like that. So I didn't have a problem with his development personally. Could he have been in the movie more? Yeah, of course. Honestly, even though I really enjoyed him, he didn't really need to be in the movie at all. They could have focused on Ocean Master for the most part. But I didn't think he was a bad addition. I really don't understand the criticism. And his suit, they actually had him in the black and red suit. I mean that freaking giant helmet. They didn't make it small and whatever. They actually had the giant black helmet. I was so glad about that. He looked awesome in that. The comic accurate suit, and then the suit that he's about to have in the Lost Kingdom looks even better. I can't wait, man. But anyway, let's get to these final two. All right, final two. Well, number two is Zack Snyder's Justice League, the only Justice League movie that matters. Man, they did Zack dirty. What were they thinking? Putting that hodgepodge piece of shit from 2017, and I don't understand this. I'm looking at the Snyder Cut, and it is superior to that 2017 version in every way. Why did they think that was a good idea to release that shit in 2017? Like, I don't understand this. Like, I understand it would be hard to release this full 4-hour version. But why did they feel the need to pretty much change that movie entirely? Why? This is such a better version. The character development is better. The effects are better. The score is better. The performances are better. The world building is better. Everything about this movie is better. This is the Justice League movie that I wanted. This is the Justice League movie that I've been waiting for since I was a kid. Why did they think that this was a good idea? Or the 2017 version, why do you think that was a good idea? That was horrible what they did to this movie. And of course, this movie comes out and it has better reception than the 2017 version. And they look even stupider doing that. This movie is phenomenal. I love this movie. This is one of my favorite comic book films. I don't care what people gotta say. I don't care what the Marvel fans gotta say. I don't care what the DC haters gotta say. This is better than the first Avengers movie. This is better than Age of Ultron. This is on the same level as Infinity War and Endgame. I said that. You can at me if you want. I will say it again. Let me make it clear for you. This is better than Avengers 1. This is better than Age of Ultron. This is on the same level as Infinity War and Endgame. I am not taking that back. I mean what I say, and I will say it 10 more times. I will debate with people all damn day. This movie is awesome. This movie had the epic scale that a Justice League movie should have. Like, it had good development, really good development, with the new characters, with Cyborg, Flash, and Jason Momoa. They actually did them justice in this movie. Ray Fisher was excellent as Cyborg. He was the heart of the movie, and they pretty much erased anything with his development in the 2017 version, and we got the surface level mimicry from that 2017 version. It was insane how much they cut out. Insane. Why would they do that to him? Ezra Miller wasn't a joke in this movie. He actually had more substance. He wasn't as wacky. He wasn't as weird. He wasn't as awkward. Jason Momoa had more development. Well, okay, slightly more. They saved a bulk of his development for his actual movie that came out after. But still was badass in this movie. So much better. I love the cinematography so much more in this movie. People can complain about, the muted colors, the cinematography is so dark. It looked a whole lot better than what that oversaturated color that we got from the 2017 version. The score was a lot better. Hans Zimmer, Junkie XL, I think it was just Junkie XL for this one. Junkie XL score, epic, awesome, amazing. He even did a Justice League score, for this movie, an actual Justice League theme he did for this movie, and it was really good. Ben Affleck as Batman wasn't a joke in this movie. You know, he actually was more serious. He wasn't doing these weird one-liners and shit. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. This is my favorite outing with her as Wonder Woman. Once again, the balance of her being the influence, the role model, the hope and optimism, but her doing her badass fight scenes. This is some of the best fight scenes that Wonder Woman has got in this movie. I loved in this film. Henry Cavill as Superman. This is the Superman that we should have gotten the first time in the 2017 version. They reshot all of his scenes. Why? What was so bad about his scenes in the original cut where they had to change everything in the 2017 version? It was insane. He was so much better in this movie. There was no weird mustache re-edit. Like, he actually looked normal. They actually had him in the black suit, which was teased before the movie came out in theaters. They actually had the black suit, and it looked cool. He has the best fight scenes with Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf looks like a completely different person. The original design for Steppenwolf looks so much better, so much more awesome. Darkseid is in this movie, and he actually had development and connections with Steppenwolf like he's supposed to, setting up for greater things for the other sequels. Darkseid was in this movie, played by the great Ray Porter, who was just a voice actor for Audible. They took a chance on him, and he did excellent with Darkseid. Excellent, and he looked awesome. You had Apocalypse, you had all this in this movie, and they cut out Darkseid. Why would they do that? Flash is reversing time in this movie. There are so many amazing things that happen in this film. So many awesome things. Warner Brothers is the dumbest in the world for trying to erase this movie. Like, I can't believe this. They even made Jared Leto's Joker better. Like, I know people still want to say that he still sucks. Like, I don't understand you people. I really don't. He even improved Jared Leto's Joker in that nightmare sequence at the end. Like, it's so much better. Joe Manganiello was Deathstroke. This was a really nice introduction to him. I thought it was cool. Oh my God, Martian Manhunter. You cut out Martian Manhunter. Like, it was the General from Man of Steel and BVS. He was Martian Manhunter this entire time. Now, I have some questions of why he didn't contribute to the fight in the previous movies. Like, why was he in hiding all this time? But even still, you cut out Martian Manhunter. Are you insane? Are you stupid? Are you dumb? Like, this is the epic Justice League movie I've always wanted to see as a child. Like, I was so happy with this film. Now, one thing that keeps this from being number one to me is that while they let Zack Snyder do whatever he wanted with this movie, I did feel a bit of self-indulgence from Snyder in this film. I didn't think the movie being 4 hours long, it is long. It's so long. It's a much superior film to 2017 in every way still. And in some ways it's better paced than the 2-hour film that we've gotten. But even then, this is not a movie I could just pop in whenever, Like, I have to actually sit down and take time to watch this movie. Like, it's like a Return of the King type of stuff. I can't just pop in Return of the King whenever I want, You have to actually sit down and, prepare to absorb all the development and all the craziness that happens in the movie. This is why it keeps it from being number one to me, because, it's that, and then there's a couple of directing choices and character choices that I didn't fully agree with that Snyder made, and that's kind of stuff. That's the type of stuff you gotta expect when you let a director do whatever they want with these, these flagship characters. There's some choices that he made that I didn't fully agree with, and just felt a bit self-indulgent to me. There's a couple things he could have just brought back a little bit, as far as his directing choices and his style, could have toned back some stuff a little bit more. But regardless, I love this movie. I think it's great. man, DC would have been in a much better state if they released this movie first. And like I said, like the critics that hated Man of Steel and BBS and Suicide Squad, a lot of them came around this movie. Some of them said this was actually pretty good. I actually might be interested in seeing more. So, and I don't even know if we're going to see Justice League 2 and 3. I don't even know that. But, like, you know, I'm glad that we got this, at least. At the very least, I'm glad we were able to see Snyder's vision fully, you know? But, man, DC would have been in a better state if they just released it from the beginning. You actually would have been able to bring some more people around if they just left it be. You can cut it down to 2 hours and 45 minutes or whatever, 2.5 hours if you want to release it for theaters. But there was no reason they should have edited it as much as they did with that 2017 version. Like, that's what's ridiculous. Even the humor, they wanted to make it funnier with the 2017 version. The Snyder Cut was already funny. The jokes landed so much better in the Snyder Cut than it did in the 2017 version. Like, it's just nuts to me. Nuts what they did with it. It's just crazy. All right. Let me look at the comments. With the big old helmet. Yes. Yeah, I know. It's Steppenwolf with the big old like his suit morphs out of, you know, his suit morphs and stuff like that. That was a really cool effect. That was really cool. That this is Justice League movie we should have had in theaters. Yes, exactly. I think they literally could have cut it to 3 hours and it'll be just fine to put it in the theaters. Yeah, like it could have been a 3-hour cut and it would have been just fine. You know, it would have been a lot better than what we gotten. And you already had a 3-hour end game, so it's like I don't understand what they would have sat down and watched this. They would have. Shuri is in the chat. Hey, Shuri. Glad you can make it. It said, oh, we're talking about, yeah, we are talking about the Snyder Cut, baby. It said there is no 2017 version. I accept it. I agree. There is no 2017 version. There is only the Snyder Cut. Do not accept its existence, because I do not. Martian Manhunter was added at the end. Hey, that is fine with me. I know originally it was supposed to be Green Lantern, but I'm glad it was Martian Manhunter though. You know, because you can't get enough of Martian Manhunter. I think the theme still works. I love this movie so much, and you've seen it 27 times. Oh my gosh, man! I haven't even made it past 10, guys. Like, I love this movie, but as I said, it's not a film I could just sit down and watch whenever. You know, I need time to absorb everything. You know what I mean? But yeah, I love this movie, man. Absolutely amazing. All right, let me just do one more recap for you guys before we get to number one, which I'm sure a lot of you already know what I'm going to say. But oh, I'm sorry, wrong one. Number 12 is the 2017 Justice League that doesn't exist in my mind. Number 11 is the Studio Squad, the music video Suicide Squad. Number 10 is Birds of Prey. Number 9 is Wonder Woman 84. Number 8 is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Number 7 is Black Adam. Number 6 is Wonder Woman. Number 5 is Shazam. Number 4 is The Suicide Squad. Number 3 is Aquaman. And number 2 is Zack Snyder's Justice League. And now, to reveal my number 1 favorite DCEU movie. And I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm about to say. A lot of you are probably shocked that this is still my number 1. And I know a lot of people will have some point of contention with this, but that's okay. It's all from the suggestion. And if there's any movie on this list that you feel is number 1, please comment below. Please comment in the chat. Tell me what's your guys' number 1. I would like to know. But you guys know what my number 1 is. Number one is Man of Steel. Man of Steel, baby. I still, to this day, think this is the best DCEU movie. Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel this way? Well, part of me is a little bit of a bias because Superman is my favorite comic book character. You know, that's never going to change. But on top of Superman being my favorite comic book character, this movie gave me what I wanted, for the most part, for Superman in the modern era. Henry Cavill as Superman, I thought, was great. He encapsulates everything that I want in Superman, you know, from his look to his demeanor, just his performance. I thought it was all great. I thought it was amazing. His suit looks awesome. Like, I love the detail that they give to the Kryptonian work, to the Kryptonian heritage and the world, the technology. This felt, I've heard this comparison before. This feels like a first contact story, like a alien, like an alien type of film. Like I like that they gave a little bit more emphasis on his alien side of Superman, because Superman is the alien. So I like that they lead more to the extraterrestrial influence in the film. But on top of that, this is a great representation of how close to how the world will react if Superman actually existed. You know, like this is a grounded, realistic take on how Superman would be in the real world. You know, I know a lot of people will Christopher Reeve Superman so close to heart, like uncomfortably close to the heart. Like that's the only Superman that exists in people's minds is Christopher Reeve, and I appreciate Christopher Reeve for what he did for superhero movies. Of course I do. I enjoy his first two Superman movies, and Christopher Reeve is always, going to be hold a special place in my heart as Superman. But I'm going to be real with you guys, and a lot of you probably won't agree with me, and probably will be mad at what I say. But Christopher Reeve is not the Superman for today. He's not. He is a Superman of a different era. We need to evolve. As Batman has evolved so many times, but we need to let Superman evolve. And at least in my opinion, I felt like they kept the core essence of what Superman is. Yes, he's put in more darker situations, but he still kept the essence of what Superman is. It's him reacting to the dark circumstances of this movie. And that's what I really appreciated about it. I didn't need Superman to smile every movie. I didn't need Superman to smile every scene. I didn't need him to save cats out of a tree. I didn't need all that sappy Boy Scout stuff. I wanted him to actually go through some relatable, dramatic stuff. Because that's one of the things that people criticize about Superman in the first place, is that he's not relatable. He's too much of a Boy Scout. He's too much of a goody two-shoes. He's too powerful. All this stuff, we can't relate to him because all this stuff, yada, 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 yada. And then here comes a movie that tries to ground him and make him relatable and not make him perfect, and people still want to complain. I don't understand what people want with this movie. I don't understand it. And people want to, and I just don't understand. People don't try to accuse me of not knowing Superman as a character. Ho. I know Superman as a character. I've seen all the iterations of Superman up to this point. I know Superman. And you can't tell me that this isn't Superman. You can't tell me that. You can't. This is Superman that we need for today, whether people want to admit it or not. Michael Shannon is General Zod, one of the best villains in the DCU. Absolutely great. And hot take for you guys, so much better than the before Zod, the goofy shit that we got in Superman 2. Even though I like Superman 2, this is a much better General Zod than we got in Superman 2. I don't care what people gotta say. He's one of the best villains in DCU. But I love all the Kryptonian stuff. Russell Crowe as Jor-El, excellent. I like Amy Adams as Lois Lane. Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White I thought was great. Um, hold on. Hold on. Once again, I'm forgetting people's names again. Parkhead. I'm about to say Parkhead. Kevin Costner as Jonathan Kent. I thought he was great. I know people want to have the controversy of, oh, he said maybe let the kids die. I'm not even going to get into all that. We can save all the nitpicks and criticisms until we do the 10-year anniversary of Man of Steel next year. We'll get into all the details about that. But I thought he was great. Diane Lane as Ma Kent. I thought Martha Kent. I thought she was great. There's so much things I love about this movie. Absolutely great. This is a Superman movie that I always wanted from, into the modern era. Because Superman Returns didn't do it for me. Fuck Bryan Singer. Ruined Superman for me with the Brendan Routh version. Even though I don't blame Brendan Routh, I just blame Bryan Singer's writing. And here's the thing: people wanting so many Christopher Reeve influences for Superman. You didn't like Superman Returns, and so they're trying something different from Man of Steel, and you still don't like it. This shows that Superman fans don't know what they want. They don't. So I'm sorry. The Superman movie works for me. I love this film. I'll always love this movie. And for me, this is my favorite DCU movie. I watch it at least once a year. At least once a year. Like, I pretty much know every season this is a movie. Like, I love it so much. And I'm so happy that we're getting Henry Cavill back as Superman. And maybe this time, after, we're done with the Snyder era of DC, maybe now we'll start to get more of the Superman that people are familiar with. And he's actually going to be able to encapsulate the character as he truly is. Because people forget, Man of Steel is not him fully being Superman. It's the beginning of the story. He didn't fully get into the world of Superman yet. He's still trying to figure things out. And people are giving him the benefit of the doubt. As far as, the movie-going audience is not giving him the benefit of the doubt of that, which I just don't understand. It's clear that it's Superman's beginning. He's not going to fully feel like Superman yet. But I feel like now, under a different director, under a different direction, under a different regime, maybe we'll start to get the Superman that we know and love. But I love Henry Cavill as Superman, and I'm glad we're going to get more of him. Anyway, that is my top 12 ranking of the DCU. Let's look at the comments before we close this out. If they let him do his original story, it would have been three and a half hour cut. Well, we still talk about the cut. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, if you actually let him cut down the movie, it probably would have been better. But okay, let me get down to the Man of Steel comics if there's any of them. Not really. Great movie. Fire. She's putting her top 10. So her top 10. Number 1 is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Number 2 is the Batman v Superman: The Ultimate Edition. Number 3 is Man of Steel. Number 4 is Wonder Woman. Number 5 is Aquaman. Number 6 is Black Adam. Number 7 is Shazam. Number 8 is Suicide Squad. 2016. Number 9 is Wonder Woman 84. Number 10 is The Suicide Squad. Only because of Star Wars. Oh, you didn't like Star Wars. Oh, that's interesting. Is listening to DL and lighting while we look outside my house. Oh, well, I'm glad you can make me a part of your day. But yes, that is my top 12 of new movies. So here's a pretty much a whole summary of everything. So 12, Justice League. 11, Suicide Squad 2016. Number 10, Birds of Prey. Number 9, Wonder Woman 84. Number 8, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, Ultimate Edition. Number 7, Black Adam. Number 6, Wonder Woman 1. Number 5, Shazam. Number 4, The Suicide Squad. Number 3, Aquaman. Number 2, Zack Snyder's Justice League. And number 1 is Man of Steel. So, I want to know, what did you guys think about my ranking? Do you guys agree with my ranking? Or at least you see where I'm coming from? Or you completely disagree with my rating? You think I'm absolutely nuts about my rating, and you have something completely different. If you have a completely different ranking, I want to know. Comment down below what your ranking of the DCU films are. But I'm glad you guys tuned into my live stream. If you guys enjoyed this, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the bell if you want to be notified of future videos if you do it. The next DC project I will be talking about, the new one, the newest one, it will be, I guess, it'll be Shazam Fury the Gods when it comes out next year. I will be talking about Peacemaker and DC Legacy with that, because I haven't talked about those yet, so tune into those when it comes out. And I still have that secret DC project that I'm working on. It's going to be surprising. I'm not going to say what it is, but tune in for that when that comes out as well. But yeah, that's all I have for you DC fans. And I will see you guys next time. I talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.